What's your name and what do you do?
I'm Matt Hand, and I've got two businesses. One is it's a detailing company, United Structural, and then my second one is Unite3D, which is a cloud services provider, providing infrastructure as a service for detailers and fabricators around the world.
How long and how did you get into the industry?
So, I got into detailing in 2005. So I graduated high school in 2000, and I had gone to school with my now partner Nick Coffey. So we were friends all the way up through high school. You know, you go to college and you go your separate ways, and I wound up doing a bunch of different things, and eventually one day I'd moved into a new place and stepped out my back door into my backyard, and there he was standing in his backyard. Our backyards butted up to each other and just happened to be neighbors. So, we kind of reconnected. He knew that I had a head for math and was good with, spatial relations, things like that. So he was already working at a family business as a detailer, working in-house for a fabricator. And, he brought me in, and I kind of learned from there. Started out just scanning sheets and being the helper monkey, doing whatever was asked of me, and eventually I had to kind of work my way up. I got started on a Mayline drafting table because that's what they had. They did not have enough computers to go around, but they had a whole pile of junk computers, and I knew my way around building a machine, so I picked through all the scraps in their back room and found a case and a motherboard and graphics card and all that stuff, and I built a machine that was, functional. Kind of worked my way forward from there, and got AutoCAD. They only had one license of SDS, and it was his, of course. So, but down the road, he wound up leaving for a couple of years, and in that meantime, I wound up getting a pretty nasty crash course in SDS. No formal training. I had his 2 weeks notice was all the training that he gave me, and then I was on my own. I had to, I spent a lot of time on the phone with Ryan Vanek. He was our support guy, and he taught me a lot. And that guy was a brilliant support rep. Like he would just ask, what version are you on? And he just knew it, mentally. He could just call it up in his head, and all right, you go to this setting, here, and lead you through it. So I kind of, got in through detailing that way, and then Nick came back a few years later, and he wound up being my checker and project manager while I continued with detailing. And then one day, I'd taken a phone call, and usually if it's a call from my wife or something, I'll just sort of mute it and I'll go get it later. Well, this one time I walked away quietly, left the meeting that we were in, and answered it quietly in my room and in my office, and he picked up on that. He realized, Matt's talking to a headhunter, I better talk to him before I'm all alone here, because the writing was on the wall that the place was going down, and he didn't want to be the last one standing on that ship either. So he's like, don't go work someplace else, let's go start our own. And that was in 2013. We wound up starting our own detailing company, and it's always the next step for us. So the very next step was we had one license of SDS, two of us, and it was with the physical hasp. You remember that?
Yep.
So I would work during the day, then I would have to drive 45 minutes to his house, hand it to him, he plugs it into his machine, he works the night shift, he drives it back to me in the morning, and we just worked 12-hour opposite shifts for, 6-7 months, and it was brutal, just not a fun experience at all. And we were like, there's got to be a better way. We're not buying a second license. We don't have that kind of money. We're still, barely getting going. And so we found this software that let us port forward our USB port, essentially. So he could put credentials on it, and I can use the client version of the software. If I know his IP address and I've got the credentials he gives me, I can then take over that USB hub or port as if it was on my own, and it disables it from him. So now he can hold the hasp and just share it to me when it's my turn to work. And that saved us the driving. Still wasn't quite good enough. We're still working the 12-hour split shift thing, and we started to hire people, so we started to get more licenses, and it's like, well, okay, it's more than just a split shift thing. We need to be able to share this more effectively. And so what we did is we got in with Amazon Web Services, built a system there, and instead of Nick sharing it to me or our other guy that we'd hired share it to that cloud server. That cloud server pulls all the hasps, and now everybody can pull licenses. It was like we built our own version of what they use now with their network licensing, where it's all authentication based. And that worked for us for a while, quite a while actually, and we just used it for us. There wasn't. It was too much overhead to teach somebody else how to do that, and also deal with Amazon and setting up all the systems. And we were still pretty new with it, but we saw that there were people trying to build cloud systems to do that, and they either couldn't figure it out, or when they figured out something, it was terrible. And it was like, well, what we have is still better than, like our cobbled together workflow is still better than your quote unquote polished one. It's like, we'll stick with what we've got. And it was in version 2020 when they came out with the new licensing, and it was like, well, that eliminates the overhead, the learning curve for anyone else to do this. Like, we can just sell this now. And by then we had continued to polish our AWS platform build. So when we switched over to that, we were like, let's form a company, and Unite3D was born, and we're selling this to cloud customers now. And we've been doing that ever since. So I've had both companies going simultaneously. One of the really nice things, I was actually talking to James. Well, I was talking with someone that was asking me about it, and James came over and we were chatting about it. He says, one of the really great things is that Matt's guys use it too. So if I have a problem with something, usually he's already working on it because his guys have already told him about it. So
right.
I'm already halfway through the fix of whatever it may be. Every now and then Windows throws you a curveball. Oh, there's a new patch came out. It's a bit of a problem. It changes how you have to do something, or a certificate runs out or something like that, and you thought you fixed one, but there was a couple more that were hidden in there that you had to tackle. We've had some issues with that over the years, and it's been a great learning process too. I didn't just walk into this knowing how to do everything. I've had to fight for it and figure it out for myself, and that's kind of how I learned detailing,
Right.
And so that's just always kind of been a way for me, and it's always been effective because I've got that level of curiosity where I like to go down a rabbit hole. As soon as I know I don't know something, I have to know it. So I dig into that stuff, which is why right now I'm digging so hard into cybersecurity. It's like, okay, I've got the base IT side of this. It works, it works well. Now, how can I beef up the security? I want to get us to like a serious Fortune 500 company grade security operations center, where we're really, really well protected, because we do occasionally see a government project come in, and it would be nice to have even better levels of protection there, have 2FA, to have 24/7 active monitoring, have intrusion detection and prevention systems in place. I'm building those kind of on my own right now, and those are going to be my next step, is to implement those, so that let's say you have a login of impossible travel, and all of a sudden somebody logs in as you, but they're halfway around the world and you just logged out. Clearly you didn't travel.
Right.
Now maybe you're sharing your credentials, and I should have a conversation, not just lock it out immediately. But if I know that you're not sharing credentials and you don't have a night shift guy using your account, which you shouldn't, don't do that. Get another account. But I do have a couple clients that are like, we just want to recycle accounts. They have a high turnover rate, or they work a night shift, sort of a thing, and so they're just trying to keep their costs down or keep it simplified. And okay, if that's what you want to do, that's the other nice thing about what I do, is I build a system that's custom built to you. I will meet with you. It's unfortunate I can't just, here's the price sort of a thing, but I can work with you and figure out what's going to fit your workflow. And from there, we build a system. Yeah, they're all kind of based on the same seed, but I'm going to customize it to fit your needs. How many people that you've got, what shifts do you work, build the resources, so we're not over provisioning or under provisioning. We're really right sizing the system to you and not wasting any resources.
So as for detailing software, still on SDS2?
Still on SDS2, but we're not moving forward with it. We have stopped at 2024, 2025, and 2026 hasn't. I mean, there's things there, there's improvements, but not enough for me to spend that money. And we're keeping an eye on Tekla, we're keeping an eye on BoCAD, we're looking at everything. And there's nothing that's really dragging us away, but there's nothing that's keeping us here either. So we're keeping our options open. SDS is what our guys know. So, there's also that inertia to overcome. Like if we wanted to move to Tekla, I'm going to have to train all my guys on Tekla.
Right.
So it's something that's kind of up in the air, but we're keeping an eye on the situation.
So in SDS2, what would you like to see added? If there's one feature. One feature.
That's a loaded question because you know me. I have been saying this for years. Sloping moment connections at the top of a column. They occur frequently, and they're very expensive to model by hand.
What's your favorite part of detailing?
Oh, favorite part of detailing is modeling something unique. Filler beams you don't even notice it. You just pass the time and click, 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 and it's gone. But modeling something interesting and unique that has a little bit of a challenge to it. I have modeled parts, like machine parts, flywheels and measurement pins and things like that. That stuff's very interesting. It's also extremely one-off. But those were some of the most challenging and interesting things that I've ever done. Complex framing can be interesting. The problem that I do run into with complex framing is that I'm not really permitted to enjoy it as much as I would because the drawings are so terrible that I spend more time beating my head against the wall trying to figure out what they mean to say. But if you take that out, I really do enjoy the modeling side of it. Drafting is kind of boring. It's kind of mindless. Like I can zone out and just clean up drawings for hours.
But it's a good break sometimes.
It is a good break. Yeah. After you've beaten your head against the wall with the bad drawings, it's like I'm gonna look at some good ones. Oh, I made these. I feel better now.
So, let's see. Why did you decide to come to Detailing Edge?
So, I have always kind of wondered what the detailing thing was all about because I've gone to NASCC a couple times. I went one as just a standard visitor, and then I went once as an exhibitor for Unite3D. And I'd seen that oh hey. Earlier on in the week, we have that detailing thing. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe I should go sometime. And the time never worked out for it. And this time around, kind of the stars aligned where it's like, okay, I've got a little bit of extra money I can add on to the extra time for the trip. I've got got the cloud business here because I don't want to just come down here and be like, I'm a detailer. I'm going to sell detailing services. So I'm selling to friends. Like they're not going it's not a sales thing. Now I've actually got something that I could do as a sponsor, so I'm kind of excited about that. I thought I was going to be able to do more, getting into the sessions and do some kind of learning and see if there's anything. I mean, I've been detailing for 20 plus years, so you kind of feel like, there's nothing I'm really going to be able to learn. And because I'm a sponsor, I wound up getting pinned down while there were sessions going on. It seems like I've always had at least somebody out here talking, oh, you're the cloud guy, tell me more. It's like, okay, no sessions for me, I suppose. And in fact, since you're recording and I'm going to blow you in, I was here this morning early for a session, and now I'm missing it to do this interview with you. So thanks for that.
Then we will finish it, and you can sneak into that session.
We'll sneak in to see what's up. Yeah, I did pop into one session. I wrapped up with a guy, and he must have finished up early because as soon as I walked in the door, the presentation popped up questions, and I was like, I'm just going back out. It's all good.
All right, well,
But it's been a great time so far. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.